Good morning, guys. As you know, my anxiety is awful. If you listen to any of my videos, you know how bad my anxiety used to be and the things that my anxieties used to hold me back from. But what you need to realize is your anxieties are holding you back from actually living life or living the life that you want to live. And you don't realize it until you actually learn to confront your anxieties and start to learn ways to reduce your anxiety or get rid of your anxiety or coping mechanisms, anything like that. For example, alongside this video, I have put up the video of something that I was casting recently. Now, anyone who really knows me knows that I've always wanted to do stuff like this. I've always wanted to be on TV. I've always wanted to do presenting. I've always wanted to voiceovers, anything like that I've wanted to get into, but my anxieties kept me back. I've been offered stuff before, but the thought of actually being on camera or being in front of all those people with the camera solely on you and having to do stuff, that used to set my anxiety through the roof. Even thinking about it, I couldn't do. When I look back over all the old stuff that I was offered stuff before I'd done this one, and I just either ignored the message or I replied to it and just said, oh, I'm busy on that day, because my anxieties were so much that even just thinking about going to the event would literally cripple me with anxiety, so I wouldn't go. But for this casting, I had been working on my anxiety, as you know, for the past year, really working on it. Not just saying I'm going to work on it, actually working on it. And what happened? As you can see by the video pop, I got castings of it and I actually went and done it. Now, am I saying during filming or anything, I didn't have anxieties? No, I did. But it's the way you handle it. What you have to realize is everyone, because obviously there's being anxious and there's having anxiety. Most people get anxious over something. Oh, I've got a test today. Oh, I've got this. That's being anxious. Anxiety is where it doesn't go away, where before the event you're thinking about it, after the event you're thinking about it, days later you're still thinking about it. Anxiety is persistent. It stays there no matter what state you're in, morning, noon, night. So yeah, talking through the steps and process, I had to go through loads of casting things. I had to send an audition tape to the casting director. I then had to speak to the casting director on the phone. I then had to have a FaceTime with the casting director. I then had to have a FaceTime with the people who were going to possibly take me on. And all of that, my anxiety was through. I was thinking, oh God, what if I? But I have told you guys loads of coping mechanisms that I use to bring down my anxiety. So I literally, during this whole casting process, I must have used every technique I have ever learned, because I kept telling myself, this is what you want to do in life. This is where you want to be. You want to get these casting opportunities and you're finally starting to get them coming in now. So go for it. You have to go for it. Because every time I would get an opportunity, I wouldn't go for it. And then I'd wonder why I'm not progressing in life, why I'm not moving forward. Why I think to myself, oh, I'm not being cast in anything. Whereas the reality was I could have been cast in stuff a couple years ago. But my anxiety, now the thing is, instead of looking back and thinking, oh, I could have just embraced what you're doing now. Instead of me thinking about all the opportunities that I've missed, I'm thinking, do you know what? I've accepted one. I got the part. Now it's finished and done. It's all up for everyone to see. I can carry on. I've actually had 2 other things on the middle of auditioning for. So, and what this whole process taught me was, not anxiety isn't real. Anxiety is real, but how you handle it. When I went there, I worked with Vicky Patterson for the day, who honestly, I loved her. See, when you go to meet someone who's celebrity status, that obviously is even more anxiety. Just meeting a normie, a normal person, that's anxiety. Meeting someone who's famous is a whole different ballgame. And you always hear about famous people being dicks and everything. Vicky, loved you. You're amazing. Honestly, like, you did help, or I'm saying it like she's watching the video. Vicky, if you do are watching this, you did help with my anxiety during the day because how friendly you were. And I didn't know that obviously Vicky had anxiety. So we spoke about it between each other. And I was thinking, wow, if Vicky can go on all of these shows, be a presenter, be this big personality. Because the thing is, I have a big personality, but when I get anxious, people, as I say, they call you shy or reserved. It's not. I'm anxious. I don't want to be this big blah personality for everyone to attack me over it. Obviously, as I told you, it's self-healing. Learning that you can be who you want to be, that is part of the journey in anxiety. If you're loud, be loud. If you are quiet, stay quiet. You don't need to be loud if you're quiet, and you don't need to be quiet if you're loud. Be who you are. Don't be the opposite to who you are. So when I saw Vicky being all loud and everything and showing me about anxiety, I thought, hang on a minute. So if she has anxiety, it means she's figured out her coping mechanisms and she has got them ready for her to go on set and do everything. So that's when I was thinking, okay, you need to do the same, Jadd. You have been learning coping mechanisms for the past year. You've been doing all this stuff with your anxiety. Let's put it into practice. And honestly, all the work I've done, all these videos I put out telling you guys all this stuff and everything, it works. It does work. I told you, I finished it now. I've done it. I've recorded everything I need to. I went on set. I went in front of the people. I went on camera. I was the solo person talking while everyone looked at me. And now if you know me, that is one of my ultimate fears. Public speaking, speaking in front of groups, all of that stuff literally used to shut me down until I actually started to address and work on my anxiety. And I managed to do it. And I keep stressing this point because I know there's so many people out there who want to do stuff or want to do this or want to do that, but their anxieties hold me back. Me, I'm a perfect example. For a couple years now, I could have been casted and stuff. I could have been 2-3 years on my way to being where I wanted to be, being a presenter, being a voiceover actor, being all this. But I held myself back because of my anxieties. And now I'm starting to actually push forward. And look, it's working. I got to be on camera. I got to do what I wanted. And during the day, I was anxious for the whole day when they would ask me to do little bits. And obviously, when you're going there, I'd never been on camera before, so I didn't know what to do. And they were like, oh, could you stand over there? I didn't know, so that was making me even more anxious. But I thought, you know what? Just live it. At the end of the day, when you have to go through certain events, whether it's an exam, an interview, public speaking, whatever it is, if you have to do it, if it's one of the ones that's an exam and you have to do it to get on, you do it. Whether you do it well or bad, you do it. And that is the key point. You have done it. Whether you go up on stage doing public speaking and you speak really, and you're getting really scared and your voice is like that, whether you do that or not, you have still spoken in front of the public. You just need to tweak and address on how to do it. So during that whole day, I had to meet a whole bunch of people. It was quite an ordeal anxiety-wise. It literally was like facing all my fears at once. And what I kept thinking was, you can't stop here. For example, the one thing, I hate to eat in front of strangers. I don't like eating in front of people I don't know. I don't mind eating in front of friends and family because they've seen me. I've been called fat. I don't like that anxiety, that attacking. You're eating something, a burger, someone calls you fat. No, thank you. Not going to go through that. However, at this casting, they said to me, do you want to stay for lunch or you're finished for the day, you can go home? And I thought to myself, I am really hungry. And the old me would have said, oh, no, thank you. Been anxious, gone home, starving, got food at home. No, this me thought, do you know what? You have conquered so many fears today. Fuck it, let's add another one on the list. I said, yes, please, I'll have lunch. So I sat at a table with people I didn't know, eating in front of people I didn't know, making conversation with people I didn't know. Now, the thing is, you're probably, if you're listening to this, you don't have anxiety, thinking, well, you just ate in front of people. You just spoke to people. That's normal. For people with high anxiety, that is like saying, you see that pool with sharks in it, dive in it. You won't get bit. Dive in it. And you think, the fuck? That's a shark. I'm going to get bit. You won't get bit. Dive in it. That's what it's like. Because at the end of the day, these sharks could be toothless. Like using anxiety jumping into a pool full of toothless sharks. There's the fear of the sharks, but they can't bite. They're all toothless. So you just have the fear of the actual shark itself. And when you jump in the water with a toothless shark, you realize what can actually happen. They could put my arm in their mouth, but they can't chew it off. They can numb it, but that's all they could do. That's anxiety. You think the situation is far worse than it is. You think you're jumping into a pool full of sharks that all have teeth, are going to maul you. They're not. They're toothless sharks. Remember that of your anxiety. Toothless sharks. That is what it is. You're jumping into something that isn't going to be as bad as you think. As I want to keep stressing, this whole day was an anxiety. It might as well have been called, like, like Thought Park. It might as well Anxiety Park. That's what it was like for me when I did my casting. That whole day, I was so nervous. But the more the day went on, the more coping mechanisms I used, the more I told myself, you can do this. You are doing it. Keep doing it. The more I hyped my own self up, I got to do it. And now I am 1%, one step closer to actually living my dreams and doing a job and stuff I want to do, because I actually went for it instead of letting my anxiety take over. I told you in my previous thing about the mask you wear, the anxiety mask. I didn't. I had my anxiety mask. I dashed that away for the day. Yes, I was anxious, but I tried my hardest to push through, which I did. I pushed through. So for anyone out there who's thinking they can't do it, or you might want to go for your dream job, but it requires an interview, a group interview, or there's so many different forms of anxiety and triggers for people anxiety. Everyone has a different trigger. So whatever your trigger is, just remember, you can do it. Whatever you're doing, whatever your fear is or anxiety, you can do it. You can. And the reason I'm telling you can is because I can. Ask my friends and family about my anxiety prior to me starting working on it last year. Ask my friends and family what I used to be like, how I was an anxious wreck when I went out. Like, honestly, as I said in all my other videos, I talk through my videos through my anxiety and where I've been at points, and I couldn't speak to people. I couldn't stand up in front of people. Interviews. Like, I went to an interview one time, found out it was a group interview. I almost died. I don't like speaking in front of people. So it's hard enough for me to speak to one person, let alone speaking to a group of strangers. So that fucked me up that day. I went in there, they didn't tell you it was a group interview till you got there. So it's stuff like that. It was instant fear. And you'd be thinking about it days before, you'd be thinking about it on the days, and you'd be thinking about it days after. But the main thing is, don't need to. It honestly isn't as bad as you think it is. And I know it sounds stupid, but for years I have thought it would be as bad as I thought it would be. And until I actually started to address my anxiety, sort my anxiety, and use coping mechanisms to realize that your anxiety doesn't go away, but you can cope with it if you learn how to. And that has helped me to no end. Not only have I done the casting, the stuff that I wanted to do, my anxiety isn't as bad as it used to be. Now, when I look back at things, when I think back to stuff I couldn't do, and I think, why couldn't I do it? Because my anxiety is bad. What has changed in that time? It was me. It was me working on me. And that's the thing. No one can work on you. No one can tell you, don't be anxious. And you just go, oh God, the anxiety's gone. That was great. No one can do that to you. Only you can sit there and think, okay, what works for me, what doesn't? Breathing techniques. 3 seconds in through your nose. And a 5-second exhale from your mouth. That probably wasn't 5 seconds, but I'm giving you an example. If that works for you, great. But it's not going to work for everyone. If it doesn't work for you, find another coping mechanism. There's always going to be things that do and don't work. And what people do is they'll go online, they'll type in on Google, how to cure my anxiety. They'll go on, they'll find the first technique. Breathe in, do this. They go, I'm still anxious. It doesn't work. I'm not doing it. This website's shit. You didn't do it properly. You didn't take the time to actually do it. If you wanted a burger or something, a takeaway, something that was beneficial to you, and you had to wait in a queue, and usually wait 5 minutes, they said it'll be 10 minutes for the burger, you go, no problem. So you wait an extra 10 minutes. So you wait 15 minutes still. That is fine for you doing that. So why not in your anxiety? Why do you take 1 second to a minute to try cure your anxiety? Why not take 1 second to a fucking year to try cure it? It doesn't. That's why people never cure or get over their anxiety, because they think it's a quick fix. They try to go on YouTube, how to cure anxiety, watch 5 minutes of a video, do the technique they found in the video. It doesn't work. The reason why is because you're not actually trying. You're trying in the sense of you're looking, you're reading, you're doing it for a second, it doesn't work, you're giving up. That is not how you cure anxiety. Do you think that's how any inventor has ever built their invention? They wrote down the first design drawing and thought, yeah, this is great, I built the TV in one. No, it goes through refinement processes. Look at the TV we have now to the TV we had back then. Each thing is a learning process and a step and a curve. They make the first TV, but there's one dead pixel in the corner because they didn't put an LCD monitor in it. They've learned. And that's the same with your anxiety. You may do something and then you learn from it. You realize, okay, this doesn't work, but this did. The breathing technique doesn't work at 3 seconds, but I feel better when I hold it for 5 seconds. You have learned from doing that. And that the only way you can progress is for you to learn on yourself. I didn't watch these videos and think, okay, I now know how to cure my anxiety. I worked on it as the days went on. So my final comment in this video is work on you and you won't believe the changes you will see. I am telling you, 100.